Check out this video.
Nowhere in our Bible does it say that the Messiah would be a god or godlike.
There's numerous places in what we call the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh, that talk about how the Messiah had to be God. He certainly would be God himself. If we look over to the book of Zechariah, chapter number 12, in verse number 4, God himself is talking. Again, this one we speak of as Adonai, Hashem, Yahovah. It says, "In that day saith the Lord," that four-letter name of God. He is the one that is talking. He continues all the way down. We come to verse number 10. God, the Lord, is still the one that is talking. And he says in verse number 10, "And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplication." And then it says this, "And they shall look upon me, whom they have pierced." How do you pierce God? Why is it the God of Israel, the God of the Bible, the God of creation, why is he saying they shall look upon me, whom they have pierced? This is speaking of God himself having a human body and being pierced.
The image on the shroud. This, as we'll see, is the most unique image in the history of all artifacts in the entire world for all time. It has undergone more scientific testing, and it has like 123 different tests. That testing has all been absolutely 100% positive. But here's the deal. That image has to be produced by a tremendous burst of light. And that would be in the order of about 6 to 8 billion watts of magnitude. That's with a B, billion, like 500,000 searchlights worth of light energy emanating from every three-dimensional point in this man's body. That's, by the way, highly unusual for corpses to do. And so for all intents and purposes, we've got really a testimony to a miracle.
As it says in Psalm 22, "They have pierced my hands and my feet." How do you pierce God? You can't, unless he takes on a human body. If we look just a couple chapters later, Zechariah chapter number 14, verse number 3, it says, "Then shall the Lord go forth." Again, the God of Israel. "Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle." This is an end times prophecy. But then get this, in verse 4, speaking of the Lord, it says, "And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst toward the east and towards the west. And there shall be a very great valley. Half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it towards the south." How does the Creator have feet? You see, this goes against a number of different things that rabbi was saying in that video. That nowhere in the Bible does it teach that the Messiah would be God. That is an absolute falsehood. It teaches that the Messiah has to be God himself in a human body that would be pierced, that would have feet, that would be born of a virgin. All of these different things have to do with the Messiah being God himself.